It's getting better. I'm driving, so I can walk on it and stuff. It's definitely taking some time to heal. And then in the midst of it, I had a gout attack in that same toe. It's like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong here, God? Please, this isn't funny. So, but it's all good. And
You're not drinking
on my
enough
cruise
wine.
no matter what.
You're not drinking
Well, no,
enough
I'm drinking
wine.
plenty of wine. I'm definitely drinking plenty of wine. Trust
then
me.
you better double it.
Yeah, well, I will. We have free drink packages on our cruise, so I'm sure I'll do my damnedest to consume as much as I can. So.
Ooh, yeah.
Rude not to. When in Rome and all that.
Exactly.
That's right.
I'm gonna stick with you, Rick. Actually, so we'll do the business side of things. Wins and challenges. What's going on?
Well, I'm getting more and more work from Grant, so that's cool. But it's not so much that I can't keep up with everything else I'm doing. So I've got like 5 or 6 websites and demo reels to review now before I leave. So that's good, making some good little cash there. Drew and I pretty close to launching our thing. Of course, he forgot that I was going on vacation. He's like, oh damn, I'm gonna be doing this 2 weeks without you. I'm like, well, yeah, you're gonna be having to do the promotion and marketing. I can't really do much of it while I'm gone. I can do a few things, but if you can give me some pages, so see how that goes. What else? Everything's good with Good Men Project. I'm like 6 weeks ahead on articles, so
good.
They're really happy with what I'm producing. Starting to get some comments on some of them on the site itself, so that's cool. And I guess the challenge at this point is just getting ahead of, I wouldn't say getting ahead of the content marketing stuff, but like definitely working far enough ahead where it's not too far, so I can be current with some stuff, but being far enough ahead that I don't wake up every Monday morning and go, okay, great, I got to crank out this, and that. So, but I did come up, and I haven't sent it over to you yet, Mark. I came up with a new, I'm going to call it opt-in, but what we talked about last week, so that when there's a certain, theme that's going on, I came up with my first new, the higher end premium piece for people to go get, not as a membership, but you have to give me your email to do that. So got that one started last week. So it's like 10 things. So I don't even remember what it is. I can't even think straight right now. But anyway, got that started. So
good.
Kind of where we are. Good.
Well done. And that's great work considering all the shit you've had going on, and the foot, everything with the foot, and then your daughter, and the government project and grant. So well played, man. And we'll be chatting tomorrow. I want to chat with each of you in particular. Just specifically anyway on everything we've spoke about the last 3 weeks, but then obviously moving forward into 2019. So good work.
Yeah, and I'll shoot that this afternoon. This afternoon when I get back, I'll shoot it over to you. At least what the outline looks like for that first one. But definitely got that done. Oh, and I got 2 new leads on speaking that didn't come from colleges. So it did, but it didn't. It came from colleges that I had reached out to, but they actually sent me 2 other colleges that said, hey, they're looking for somebody to do this masculinity work. And these were direct referrals to people at 2 other colleges. That was pretty cool. So,
good, man.
That was worth it. Yeah.
All coming together. Some of the groundwork that you'd done 2 or 3 months ago is starting to pull in together now, isn't it? So that's good. Good. Well done, man. Well done. Thank you very much. Andrea, are you there, madame? We cannot hear you. I can see you're unmuted. You just unmuted yourself, but we can't hear you. That's all right. You tinker with that. I'll go to Cam, and then we'll come back in a sec. Not sure.
From Andrea, not sure.
Are you there? Not sure. I think it must be the...
no video playing, no audio.
Go and leave. Just leave the room, Andrea, for now, and then come back in, and I'll let you back in, and then we'll figure it out.
You sound like Carm's problems. Oh, so you're going to me, man?
I'm going to come to you. Shoot. What's the win? What's the challenge? What's the week been like?
It's been interesting. I had a great one-on-one meeting with Rick this morning.
Oh, good. How did that go?
It went great. He was very humbled about the mistakes that he made last week. He's under torture with his child, who they still think has that Oh Christ! I just lost the words, but now has asthma. Was in the hospital for. The kid is very ill, and I think it's really keeping his focus somewhere else. But we did discuss the fact that he is representing my brand, and he was good. So we got on the same page. I started my first ever swag contest last week. I created a page on the website called /swag. I used the PW forms for it, put a password required. My password this month is learning. And no one yet. I've only published it in one episode. And I basically say, hey, listen during the episode and I'll butt in and tell you what the password is. So I'm not sure it's going to work, but we're sure in experimental mode. I bought some extra coffee mugs, some mouse pads, and we'll see what happens. Good. Personal appearances this week. I put 3 quotes, or I'm about ready to put 3 out. Southeast of the U.S. Automotive Aftermarket Association, a training company out of Florida called AVI, and a business coaches company wants to have me come on site. I also booked a Colorado trip, January 25th and 26th. And it was so interesting. I reached out to the director of marketing for Jasper because I'm trying to lock it down. And all of a sudden, I get this wild phone call Friday afternoon. Carm, it's Jason. You got a minute? And I'm thinking he's going to reply to my email. He goes, hey, I'm in Florida, and I'm hanging out with a group of Jasper customers. And we're just talking about shit, and they would love to know your opinion on the top social sites that people are using. So I told them what my opinion was based on what I heard, but I would be more than happy to email the team that's down there. I'll reach out to my experts that are on my team, and I'll let you know, see if they agree with me or not. So ended up, what was so interesting is that one of the ladies who was there is a member of this coaching group that I interviewed in Vegas. And it was like instant bonding, connecting while I was with them. So, and I thought it was great that they felt that they should pick up the phone and reach out to me and come to me for an opinion for this business group. So that kind of told me that I think they're going to say yes. If not, if he's going to say no to me and, use me here, even though I'm under contract with him, and then just walk away, I think he may have just learned. And by the way, these people knew of me. They listened to the show. So I think that was an interesting thing that happened.
Oh, massively. That's a speaking to your status as the expert in their eyes. So that's definitely a way to read that. Well played. So,
God, if they say no to that, I mean, I'll just reach out to them and says, oh, God Almighty, can't you see the value that I'm bringing to you? Challenges. Federal Mogul basically told me, hey, don't wait around for us. I can't give you an answer. Because I reached out to Mike. I reached out to him straight up. I says, Mike, listen, I don't want you to dangle this and me to dangle it. I just want you to know, Mike, I got to start working some other options. And he goes, Carm, we want it really bad. However, he says, don't count on us. If it happens, it happens, but don't count on us. Now, with all that said, Mark, this other company, AVI, Automotive Video, met with me at Apex. I told him how much the show sold for. He said, it's probably a little out of my budget, and then Apex, the guy who my relationship at Apex, he and I are going to talk at 3:00 today because he may be interested in sponsoring the show.
Good.
Duh. He says, I don't have the money you want for the whole thing, but he says, we may be in for a piece of it, but let's have a dialogue. He says, so AVI, Apex, possibly Napa. And then I get a phone call from a mail order company that puts mail out off the charts. And I'm meeting with him today at 1:00. He says, do you have any opportunities to sponsor anything on the show? So it's interesting. It's just so friggin' interesting. And by the way, I have my new show called Carmcast that could be possibly sponsored. I've got so many other things that could possibly happen. I've not sold For the Record yet, which is available. So if I can't get a big marquee, name inside of Remarkable Results, there's other things that are interestingly out there. sell them or not, the fact that is from the clear bluest parts of the sky, things are coming to me. So,
well, the good thing with that is that, kind of rewind back to a year ago, you were thinking of yourself as the podcast. Now it's the brand, and it's actually, as long as we make that revenue, it can come a slice there, it can come a slice there. And I actually think, even though it's scary to not have the Federal Mogul guarantee, it's the opportunities and the stability of the business are overall a lot better because of it.
I would love nothing more than to this would be my dream spot in the place that I'm at, is that I would get Apex and AVI to sponsor, one of the shows, and then I would get Napa, because their proposal is still out there, to do the other.
Yeah.
And because the issue I have is that the other aftermarket people who want me to come to their stuff don't want me to go if Napa's my sponsor. But if I never publish an interview that I did at their place on the Napa spots, which means I have the independent show and I have the Napa show. Yeah. And I think I can make it work. And I think I can still be neutral inside the industry, even though Napa bought one show. And even if they bought 1/4 of one show, or, I have 4 minutes to sell in RRR every week. So that means I get 4 sponsors. I get 1 sponsor. I get, I can break it up. So I'm not unhappy. I'm challenged.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very positive way of looking at it. And it's, like I said, it's the business in a much more stable position than it was last year, without the reliance on one brand where there's a rug that can be pulled out. You're not doing that anymore, which is a shift. If you think this time last year, it was all about closing Federal and then kind of tinkering with Jasper a little bit. So well done.
Don't forget, I got Repair Pal on for 13 weeks for, Town Hall Academy, and hopefully they decide to stick around and maybe buy the year.
Yeah, exactly. Well done, man. You should be proud of that. That's down to all of the peripheral work. And again, thinking back to last year, you were a production guy. You were just producing. Now you're building the brand. So you're doing the production, but you're doing all this other stuff. So well done. You should be happy with that.
I am working very hard on brand karm. Thank you.
Good. Well played, dude. Now, do we have Andrea in the building? I don't know. We can see you, but we can't hear you, and we cannot actually see your face.
She's got a comment down below.
System can't find my mic and video not working. Sounds like a laptop problem. Have you done a cheeky restart on the laptop, Andrea? Might just be that. Sounds a bit weird. Sounds like a hardware failure. Oh, yes, restarted. How very bizarre. Wonder what else that could be then. I can't think of anything.
I think you need to go into your sound settings. First, number 1 for mic.
It looks like it's not being recognized as an option.
Zoom is so easy to, filter through everything. I tell you, man, it just works. It seems that it just works.
I've had it before where I had it last week where it just wouldn't recognize this camera. It's almost like it just doesn't boot, which is interesting. That's all right, Andrew. We'll do the you and I talking tomorrow night, so we can do the old wins and challenges then. I know you've had some good wins anyway, and International Day of Kindness is tomorrow as well when we're talking.
I keep waiting for for our friend Raph to show up.
Oh, he finally come. Raph is snowed apparently. He's got like all sorts of crap going on at work. He keeps messaging me.
I can't. So I have him here. I'm just waiting. I'm not putting him anywhere until I show him. Yeah.
I love that. He'll be like, yeah, that would be good. If we can't see each other for tomorrow, Andrea, that's all right. We'll do Skype. Don't worry about it. We'll sort it for tomorrow. It's all good. So let's dig in and just kind of finish up on the content piece. What I want to start doing over the next few weeks is just individually working on content plans. So working with you, Cam, working with you, Andrea, working with you, Rick and Raph and Steve and David and the other people that don't join us on this session on planning content, but in particular, planning content that increases your status as that expert. So it's kind of pulling on a thread that you've just led us into, Cam, which is, how do you get people to make that phone ring? How do you get people to think about you as that expert? And Rick, I think it's interesting from your side because you've kind of done this in one arena, but now you're upgrading and you're stepping into maybe a new space. You've got one foot in one and you're moving into another. So what I want to do when we talk tomorrow is work through some of the things that we've done over the last few weeks. So we've got the buckets, we put those together, we put the themes together, and we put this content development process last week together. What I kind of want to just talk about today is just getting into the swing of kind of monetization. And I'm kind of going to throw it around the room. Andrea, you'll obviously not be able to participate because of the problems. But again, it's all right. Don't worry. We can talk about this tomorrow. But I want to kind of look at what is the easiest way for you to monetize some of the content that you put out. And I'm not going to kind of go down the path that you guys ordinarily go down. So Cam, when I say what's the easiest way for you to monetize, sponsorships will not be the answer. We can't do sponsorships because that's a given. You know, Rick, with you, we're not looking at speaking gigs. We're not even looking at consulting. It's how else can we make the money? And the reason for that is that to monetize anything, you need an audience of people. But the one thing that a lot of people forget is that us four could all be the same demographic. We could all be the same avatar. We could all be the same people. We could all have all the same needs, all the same everything. You know, from in a boxed off avatar perspective, we would maybe be the same people, with one exception: the type of things that we like to buy. And people forget about that when it comes to building their avatar out. And what they do is they forget that some people are willing to spend money recurring. Some people don't want to do that. Some people are willing to buy something online. Some people aren't. Some people want a book. Some people want a video. Some people want a course. Some people want something else. So we've got to start to think about those kind of things as well. And it's kind of like the last piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to throw to you guys that can hear me and can kind of jump in on this. Andrea, I know you can hear me, but you can't. The audio is not working the other way. So Cam, I'm going to come to you and just kind of quickly flick through some options for monetization. So you've positioned yourself as this expert, this Calmcast stuff, everything's worked. You know, let's assume we flash forward a year. Sponsorships are done. Let's forget that. They're either working or they're not working. Regardless, you're happy with where they're at. What other opportunities for monetization do we have? So what have we got in the mix? What can we then sell to your audience?
We have the premium side, and that's, I have to tell you, Mark, when I was in Vegas, a really good friend of mine, a business coach, came up to me and he looked at me and he goes, "You do know that subscriptions is the wave of the future and you need to be there." And I looked at him and I said, "I know I do." And so I've just got to be able to I don't know what, I just don't know how to start. I need software. I need something so I can start playing with it and figuring it out. And strictly, here's a change I had in my thoughts, Mark. And I don't know if I shared this last week or not, is I was all hyped up on saying, I'm going to put Behind the Firewall. I'm going to put the Greg Buckley show, the Scott Brown show, and all these really big industry icons and leaders and give them all a show. And I started to realize, I just need to do a show with him, maybe one or two, and pay him just for that show, instead of making a huge commitment to someone else. Behind that, Greg Buckley on marketing, maybe once a quarter. Scott Brown on IT and connectivity and diagnostics, maybe one a quarter, and then just keep finding some people that will give some, these really powerful interviews or one-on-ones. Instead of locking any one person, stay as broad-based as I was on the free stuff, but make them even deeper, heavier, maybe even find some people that have never been on the show and put them behind the firewall. So that's my thought is that I don't have to go out and say to a guy, here's a couple $1,000, I want you to do this. I would just rather say, listen, I will pay you depending on how many people that I have. Everything's cycling through. How do I, monetizing the membership, it'd be cool to get, $4 or $5 a month coming in on something like that. And, and only spending $1,000 to pull it off. And then in my case is that I could even have side ads inside of the membership thing from industry, hey, $4,000 gets you a sidebar, for the next quarter. And so not only are people paying, I could actually place ads in the membership side. So, and that's what a lot of the sites in our industry do. If you will, the bulletin board type. There's the free side, which I already have. And then there's the premium, and they sell ads. So not only do you pay as a premium member if you want access, you're also subject to the ads that are inside of it.
Okay, yeah, good solid idea. And I think the opportunity that you've got with this is, if you think about a network from a sponsorship perspective, networks don't get sponsored. Like a sponsor rarely buys a cross-show sponsorship. They'll never buy, or they rarely buy, very rarely buy, an aggregate number of downloads. So what we'll not do is say, okay, we're going to sponsor Remarkable Results, and we're going to sponsor For the Record, and then Camcast, and then this, Gonzo's show. We're not going to say we'll take the aggregate number of downloads and sponsor those as a package. They rarely do that. They don't want that because they know that migration of listeners exists. So one listener will listen to Remarkable Results, then listen to Gonzo's show, then listen to For the Record, then Camcast. So the number of listeners is one, but they're listening to 4 things. So they're like, sponsors aren't interested really in that. The reason I'm mentioning that is that if you were to try and just monetize through sponsorships, the fact that you have several shows might actually work against you. It might work against you because people then would just assume that actually there's only one show that we want to sponsor. With the subscription model, I would urge you to consider going very, very niche, like we said last week, on each particular show, and doing a show that has got a tiny little breadth to it and that talks about one specific thing really deeply, but do that regularly. So do it weekly where it's okay. And what you might have to do with that, we need to come up with a monetization model. We need to come up with a way of getting the talent on board, which I think is doable. We don't know what that is yet, but I think it is doable.
It is.
Because what people I think will need, and this is only conjecture, but it's where my brain initially goes. People will want to choose from a breadth of content, but when they've chosen from that breadth, they will want a lot of that content to go to. So what I mean is that if they choose one niche, so they'll want to choose from a wide array of things, but when they've chosen that particular topic, they will want to go deep, deep, deep into that. So if you're producing 12, 13 shows a year about that one topic, actually suddenly their subscription is less valuable because there's not enough on that one thing that I want. So I'm not going to come back as often, which doesn't expose me to the rest of the library enough to make me sticky. So there's kind of a number of considerations there. The biggest one for you, of course, is how do we get the talent involved without it costing an arm and a leg? Which is, I think that's the bigger problem than how to pitch this thing. So I'd consider that and look at how tight you can go in specific niches. Just look at what the problems are.
I absolutely wouldn't have a problem narrowing down. So one of the things that I just, as a side note, I have to ask you this now. I may forget it tomorrow. I think I almost need to get an advisory panel on board with me, and go out to, 6, 7 people and say, hey, can we meet once a quarter? Can I tell you what's going on? Can I get some ideas? What are the trending topics? Because I know the big magazines in our industry have that. Mm-hmm. And, everybody's, oh, I'm on the blankety blank advisory panel. And I think it's a little bit of an ego boost, but I also think, I can stay well connected, even though my alumni in Facebook really helps me a lot. And I think they care about, where I'm going. Maybe we talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that's something definitely to pull on. I think just the thought to throw into your mind to bring into tomorrow is if you can have your alum involved in some way and have them be part of the advisory board, you're going to bring people in close. And it's almost growing from within because you need them to tell other people. And the only stake that they will have in it really is that they love what you do. Like they're the best place to start because they don't want anything back except for you to be able to do more good stuff so that they benefit from it. So that's kind of it's like a perpetual motion. You get someone in to help you with that. And we see it all the time. People offering for us to, can we help you in any way? Can we? And it's members, what can we do? How can we spread the word? And we just say, look, you've got your affiliate stuff. Go and tell everyone about it. And they do. So that's definitely something to consider tomorrow. Definitely something to consider, and we'll chat on that one.
All right.
Thank you, my man. Andrea, hello. It's working.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep. Can we see you?
All right. Well done.
Well done.
You had to plug it in, I bet.
No, you know what? I actually had to go into my settings and enable my camera and the microphone in the settings of the main computer.
Oh, wow.
You had an update. I bet you did an update and you didn't
I
know.
did. Yeah, I did do an update, but it didn't automatically do that.
Pesky updates. Anyway, hello. We'll go through your winning challenge. Then we'll stay with you actually to talk about what we just talked about with Cam, and then Rick, I'll come to you afterwards. So we'll do it all together. So hit us wins, challenges, and then we'll dig into the other stuff.
All right. My win is that my design stuff is really moving. I have a meeting Wednesday to get a snapshot of what's happening at this juncture. I'm bummed I can't get AndreaFrank.com. I still have Andrea Kane Frank. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's what it is. And my challenge will be, once I get all the design stuff, I got to do the web part, building out the website. So wondering what I need to be ahead of in that. And, here's another cool win. For whatever reason, I've been writing things on Medium, just trying to find my voice. And this one post is getting a lot of traction. It's got 111 reads and I don't know how many views, but that one seems to be the one that resonates with a lot of people. And it's just it's a post relating the summer solstice to grief and an all-star baseball game. So it's interesting what is resonating with people. And then I'm gathering pictures and stuff to post tomorrow for International Day of Kindness. It's a bummer I'm not launching on this day. So, but something to keep in mind.
Well, these things are moving though. Some of the challenges that you've had around the design stuff, they've been, put to bed now. So that's a win. So yeah, that's something definitely to celebrate. And where are you at with the design stuff? What's the next stage? What's the kind of dating on that?
I have a whole outline of what to expect week by week, and I think by mid-December, everything should be done. So it's looking like a January. Well, depending on how fast it'll take me to build out the website, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that shouldn't take long at all. It's just that's more about the planning of it, I think, which we can work through. Okay. So good, well played. And how's the work with Marge going? How's the work with the guys from England going? I forget the strength scope. How's that?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, there's some big updates. Marge is in Cancun presenting on some topics. So I'll try to meet with her I don't know if I'll get to her this week. I have a strength scope meeting right after this. And then, hey, look who's at the bottom there.
That's right.
And and I submitted my proposal to speak at the global conference in Nice, and I'll find out mid-November. And then also I'm doing some of my neighborhood Nantucket project work too. They just gave me some neighbor stickers to hand out to get some social media traction. So got my feet in a couple things, and then also joined the global family group from the World Positive Education Summit about teaching families about positive psychology, and then also joined the international student group to help them advocate and establish their international presence.
Wow, a lot going on then. That's without a brand. That's without anything.
Without a brand.
But all of this, Andrea, without a podcast?
Without a podcast. Without anything.
Just connections.
Just making it happen. But
yeah, it's
I know I would benefit greatly from a podcast, but I figure I need to have my presence first.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. You got to have the baseline brand and then build upon that.
But it just seems to me like it's almost it's almost ready as far as all the things you keep telling me. But the fact of the matter is, next week we'll be on, and you'll tell us about 4 or 5 more connections and speaking engagements, and the podcast will just sit on the back shelf because you're so darn busy doing everything else. And that's not a negative, but it's a great problem to have. But
it just shows the power that you've got to leverage some content when you put it out, because you've done things that a lot of people are unable to do when they've got a platform, and you've done that without the platform. The platform is just being you and your personality.
That's right.
So when you amplify that and you get it out to a wider audience, it bodes well.
Brand Andrea is on fire.
Brandria.
Oh, thanks. Brandria.
Brandria. Armcast. Brandria.
Oh, I like it.
Cool. Well, we'll spend a few minutes just talking about some monetization options then. So this is really just to get your brain ticking over for tomorrow's chat, each individual person. So position yourself as the expert, done what you need to do, publishing content, doing your speaking gigs and so on and so forth. Where do you see your strongest options for generating revenue?
I think speaking.
Okay.
As far as revenue, I think that also membership opportunities through my website. I think there'll be lots of opportunities for people to get some good information through the website. I don't want to be a road warrior speaking, constantly, but I would like to have that revenue stream and still be present to my family. So I think membership opportunities through the website would be a nice complement, and then trainings, workshops, maybe even retreats.
I think that's a strong one. Definitely that offline side of things will work for you. And I think it's a funny one with the memberships, because it's sort of what I'm going to say contradicts the thing that I will say after it, which is weird. But people in that kindness, and especially the family space, memberships to me are interesting on that space, because you're almost like an educator. Like if someone working with schools in education is seen to be making money from being a business in education, the industry starts to frown on them a little bit. Like, this is for the good of the kids. Why are you making money from it? Or if not, why you make a little bit less money? So you've kind of got this weird, odd scenario. Having said that, take that the other way, take it offline to the retreat. Those guys will pay an untold amount of money to be at those things. So you've kind of got this weird dynamic where online recurring is actually more difficult to sell than a 10K retreat, because it's almost like what the industry is conditioned to. Like, they're used to paying this amount to go to this thing for that amount of time and get this benefit from it. Whereas the online stuff, it's a bit like, why are you taking money from me every month? So I don't think it's a problem. It's just a consideration of how you might angle it and pitch it, and what's inside the membership, and how you do something to stand out. Yeah.
That's definitely something to consider, and a good, valid point. You know what else? I had a really amazing small world experience. I got on that international call for students, and I don't know if you remember that I contacted a superintendent of schools when we were first starting to work together, and there was a woman on the call from that school district.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah. Yep. So
did she remember you as well?
I've never spoken to her. She's someone else who's trying to gain entrance to the level I've already attained.
Ah, I see. Well, that is small world. That's interesting as well, how the tables have kind of turned a little bit. Nice. That is good. And how can you use that to make more connections within that school district?
Yeah, I'm reaching out to align with her too.
Good. Well played. That's insane, with all the like Carm said, without the platform.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good. We'll consider those things for tomorrow then. Let's talk about the memberships. And the reason that I'm talking about these monetization options is that when we start to put all the content plans together for next year, like, they've got to lead to somewhere. They've got to lead to a goal. It's not just, we're going to have a great year of content.
Right.
They've got to lead somewhere. So consider those for tomorrow, Andrew, and we'll pick those up. Raf, I'm going to leave you until last, because Rick's driving on the road. So I'm going to come straight to Rick. And Cam's got something for you anyway, Raf. So we'll wrap up.
Oh, I did. I showed him. I got it.
Did you? You little cuties. So we'll do that in a sec. But Rick, I'm going to come to you, my man. So we've got consulting, we've got speaking, we've got the new stuff that you're doing with Drew, and some of the consulting stuff that you're doing with Grant. Let's talk about some other monetization options. Where do you see opportunity over the next year to start adding more revenue?
Well, it's interesting because I'm going to go here and then come back to your question. I've been following this guy named John Pavlovitz. He's from North Carolina, and he has a blog called Things That Need to Be Said. He's a Christian pastor, and pretty much he's known for like calling out the Christian bullshit right now, and definitely calling out Trump stuff. And so I've been watching how he's grown, and he's grown really quickly in the last 4 years, and he's got 2 different books. One just came out. And I watched his content, and it made me kind of, I wouldn't say rethink what I'm doing, but it takes me to the place of the expert positioning of his positioning is around Christianity and what's wrong with how people are calling themselves Christians and everything. And it made me think maybe my branding really needs to come from the space of, and it's around men, but calling men out about how men show up in the world, but also on a positive side, here's how you can be the better man, this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it got me thinking about if I could really position myself as that guy that helps men really show up, which everything is kind of pointing. That's kind of, I feel like that's what I've been doing over the last few months. And really focus on stuff. So like an article he wrote the other day was why Christians have it all wrong about, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something about why Christians have it all wrong about X, Y, Z. And I thought, you know what, I could actually take a similar thing and go, why men have it all wrong about what they believe being a man is, and all this sort of stuff, and starting to position it so that then what I'm doing that I most enjoy and what I know I'm good at is writing and getting another book written, and then letting the book and this sort of stuff guide me to everything else I'm wanting to do to monetize. So the book and these kind of articles lead me to the speaking engagements. It leads me to a retreat or an event that's very interactive, which is what I've always wanted to do, where it's 4 guys to, in their own way, become better men. I know I'm not the only one out there doing it, but it just kind of, everything kind of gelled in the last 48 hours around this concept. Which then a guy actually from Australia hit me up the other day, and he said, do you license your coming out work? Oh. This is about the 4th time in the last 6 months somebody's asked me that.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting, because everybody who's asked me is somebody who wants to get in and start coaching people coming out late in life. And I don't know anybody that actually has done that. But if I did that thing where I could say, okay, here's the process, here's what you do, here's how you do it, I could actually probably flip that same thing into, here's how you help, here's how you work with men coming out late in life around a career change or pursuing their own business or leaving it's the same stuff, but if there's like a licensed product that is not necessarily the coming out, I don't know, it could be, or it could be the coming out, bold move, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I license that stuff out to other people.
Rick, you could build a certified coach who comes to your yearly event to learn a couple of days worth. You work with them, teach them. They've got to pass some type of course, and then of course you license them to use all of your materials, and right. And somehow piggyback on your website or the kind of resources that you create.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well, because there's a number of models inside that you can use. There's a number of membership levels that you can kind of think of with this one. Get people involved at a membership level. From an end user perspective, but also then from a I don't want to say franchise, but a franchised coachee perspective. And there's also the whole revenue split scenario, which you were aware of with the Tony Robbins stuff. That is interesting, because one of the biggest problems that consultants and it's a bad phrase to add to it, or the word consultants, it's not consulting per se, but any consultancy it just struggles to scale because you've only got 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week that you can sell.
Right.
But this becomes interesting because you can open up geographical areas that you'd have never touched. You can open up events and retreats, like Andrea said. This is a way of connecting lots of different nodes to then their different nodes and so on and so forth. So it's an interesting thing to lean into that. And because of everything that you've got, probably not that hard to set up sort of a beta kind of testing group for that one. Get 2 or 3 people just involved and like Carm said, get them down to where you are and just do something with them for a weekend and just see.
Yep. And it's different than like selling an online course. It's completely different. This isn't like go buy this and then go do it. It can be, but that could be part of it. But I think it's more, it's like Carm said, and it was exactly where my head was. It's like you become licensed and certified to use this process.
Yeah.
Which is what most coaching schools do too. But it's very specific to a particular kind of journey. And it's very specific. I guess I keep coming back because now that I'm coaching all these speakers, and it seems like every time I'm coaching them and on the phone with them, it's go narrow, go deep, go narrow, go deep, all that stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that's kind of one of my thoughts. And the John Pavlovitz thing just really, I'll try to remember to send you some of his stuff, or you can look him up. But it just really hit me that his focus and his group is Christianity. And I thought, you know what? There's the same way I could do this around men and, really focus on this. Just constantly, it's about men and masculinity. Everything I do, it's about how they can show up, they can't show up, why they're getting a bad rap, why they shouldn't get a bad rap, and just kind of mimic some of his stuff. And my gut feeling says this thing could catapult really quickly. Because I'm coming from a different space where I'm like almost the anomaly of, I'm the gay guy who's talking about masculinity.
Oh, did we lose you? That's going to be a service problem. Everyone else has lost.
He was getting there. We're like, yes.
Oh, he's gone. That's all right. That'll be the driving. That's because he's driving. That's what that'll be. Yeah. That's all good. Oh well, we'll skip over to you, Raf. Give us the winning challenges to start with, and when Rick comes back on, we'll give him a second to finish up, and then we'll bounce.
Yeah, no problem. So, hey guys, I've totally disappeared. I've done everything from been at trial for something that I got pulled over for in June, and out of principle, I said I'm going to court for this. And
did you win or did you lose?
Of course, yeah. No, I got not guilty, dismissed, the whole bit. Had my whole package ready, the whole bit. And the thing is, I totally forgot about it. And then I was going through some paperwork, and I was like, oh crap, I got court on Friday. Anyway, so it's one of those things that you're just like, I don't need another thing. But everything, I don't know if I've shared. I think I've shared with this group that we're expecting our 6th child. I think I've shared that with you guys. Maybe now, I guess not with the reaction from Andy and Carm. Maybe not. Mark knows. So my wife's 7 months pregnant. So we're almost at the tail end of that. Yeah. And so Raphael said, found a house that I want to try to purchase for the family. So it's a big 6-bedroom home, 4 acres, and we're working through those details. So I'm piling all this stuff. 2-car accidents, sold 2 cars. Anyways, it's just the nuts, right? So yeah, just nuts. So we're served in all my day job responsibilities changed. That's just nuts. So we're served in all this. I got parked. So this is the story that I'm going to lead with, guys. On Wednesday, Ethan, we're driving down the road. He says, Papa, aren't you launching Served this Veterans Day? I'm like, yes. And I'm just driving down the road because I know where he's going. I can hear him. He's like, Mark called Ethan, and Ethan's talking to me type deal. And I said, yes. And he says, but Papa, Veterans Day is this Saturday, this Sunday, this Monday. I said, don't talk to me right now because I got a lot of things on my plate, and that's going to get pushed to Friday, 11 p.m. He says, but Papa, you've been talking on Facebook and doing these things that you're going to launch Serve. What does that mean? I have no clue. I don't know what that means. I have until Friday. Just let me be. I have other things in front of this I have to work on. So he says, I think I have a great idea. So I said, what is it? He said, we go and find a bottle rocket. We attach a surge sticker to it and we fire it up. And I said, well, it's going to blow up at the end. So maybe that's not a good one. And he's like, well, and I said, where are we going to find firecrackers or bottle rockets in November? So I was successful. I have a rocket that we are going to launch today. We're going to decorate it with served and surge stickers, and we're actually going to do a little video and we're going to launch it. So, there's the physical launch, but that was sort of that thing where we have to do something, but what is this something? Well, here's an amazing story, guys. 3.5 years ago, you all know that I just started with this idea. A year, roughly and a half, I hooked up with Mark and you guys, and we just sort of been going along this journey and whatever it is. On Saturday, I went to an event, a charity event that I participated with for 5 years. This is the 5th annual. Serve's only been around for 3.5, so I was part of this before it Serve existed type deal. And there was a special guest, and that special guest stood up there, and it was a guy that I helped about a year ago. He was a vet, full-blown kidney disease, and he was told that he was going to wait for his kidney about a year. Then 10 years later, he's struggling. I met him last year, and I knew of him through his wife because him and his wife were friends. But then my wife came to me. She says, can you do something with Serve? I said, babe, like, Serve is nothing. Like, it's just this idea. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, what do you mean, can I do something? She's like, you have to do something for Kevin. And I said, all right, fine. So I started calling the networks, reaching out to the nonprofits I had already made contact with. And so Kevin received his kidney 2 months ago, which was a huge, huge thing after 10 years of waiting. And I knew he was going to be a special guest at this charity event as a shootout where we shoot clay pigeons, and it's just a good old time. And I sponsor the event, and, I participate, and it's just one of these things where the Check 6 Foundation has been a tremendous, tremendous supporter of Serve. I'm on their website, the whole bit, even though I'm nothing, right? Well, so I'm sitting there, and Kevin goes up on stage and is talking to a group of 100 people. And he says, it's because of Serve that I am here. I was at my lowest of lowest points in life. I was told 10 years, or at that point was 9 years ago, that I was going to get a kidney. Then the 3rd year passed and they said almost. And on the 5th year, it was not coming. On the 7th year, I didn't know what to do. My wife couldn't even energize me. She couldn't give me life. She couldn't give me hope. The whole family was starting to struggle. And then I came on board, and simple sticker, right? It was a swag. At the time, I think I had one of my crazy 5 designs. I don't even know. The get one didn't exist. And he's talking about this, and then how I was able to hook him up with the Check 6 Foundation. And then from there, from just monthly calls, hey, how you doing? Hey, bud, you can do it, to all the way to he got his kidney just recently. Looks like a completely different man. So he made me this shirt, and it says Kevin's Wingman. And in the back it says special thanks to the Check 6 Foundation and Served, and to some of his hospital friends, and then to all those that say a prayer to him. And he presented this to me over there. And I looked at Ethan and I said, buddy, that's a launch. That's what the launch is all about. So my win, guys, is my website didn't change. It's still looking like a one little page website. I haven't launched a podcast, but guess what? Served is launched, because I sat there and almost cried, and I said, 3.5 years of wondering what this is. That's what that is. That right there is worth more than the lotto ticket, than worth more anything that's monetary value. I mean, all that we've built here is that. So anyways, I wanted to share this story with you guys because you guys are part of my tribe. I needed to come back today. Today was my first day. I was shooting at Andrea a little text. She sent me a message a while ago, and I just completely zoned everybody out. And I said, I need to come back and reconnect with my tribe, and you guys are my tribe. And the story that I share with you with Serve, this is your story as well. because you guys, each and one of you, has played a tremendous role in that. And anyways,
there's your sign. There's your sign.
Yes. Well, my son was with me at the event.
The first content there as well that you need to write is that case study.
Yeah.
You only need that content on your website. That is it.
That's it.
That is a case study.
And pics of that shirt. Pics of that shirt.
Write it just like you spoke it to us, and then keep refining it and bring more heart into it, and and then start mentioning names. I think this could ride the rails. You've got
to definitely do that, and those testimonials are what it's all about. Like, this is a case study. That's all you need. That one, and then you get the next one, and then you get the next one, and that's how it grows, man. And then everyone wants a sticker.
So Kevin, it's just so amazing. So I reached out to Kevin. I said, hey, listen, because he can't be employed and there's all these other challenges. And I said, Kevin, I didn't know you could make T-shirts. He's like, I'm kind of crafty. I said, let's start working on getting you something set up, and you can maybe start making shirts or whatever. He got all excited. So this kind of whole thing is turning into this potential, like Kevin could be like the first served employee. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe Kevin's making shirts and we're selling them on service. I don't know what it is, but it was just so cool that the guy literally was just beaming. I'm telling you, it was a different man altogether. He looked healthy. He was eating, and he's just like served and check 6.
By the way, let me stop you. Let me stop you for a moment. You said employee. I think there's a better name. I think the name is volunteer.
Volunteer, yeah.
Volunteer, and why I say that is I think that's part of what Served is about. Volunteers, and then even if he makes money, then he gets a piece of whatever the action is. That's a side deal.
Yeah.
But he's got to be a volunteer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my win. My challenge is that we're still here, and today's the first day that I've been able to just relax, and I just wanted to hook up with my tribe again, recharge, and just share that all with you guys. So, good Mark, I still owe you. I'm like the delinquent student, Mark. I owe you 3 homework assignments. I got track of it. I'm going to turn them in. 3.
All right, let's give him a D for today.
Yeah, but you know what? A D still passes you. And I get to talk with the principal tomorrow at 7 a.m. So I better kick it up.
Ralph, the D means dynamite.
Dynamite. Fantastic. I like your grading system.
Don't want to know what A stands for, Cam.
Andrea.
Yeah. That's it.
Andrea.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Randria, that's what it is.
Thanks for covering on this.
Woo! Close.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it in a sec. Raf, what we've been doing is just talking about monetization options. So I will pick yours up tomorrow on your call.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Rick just texted me just to say he lost his cell service, so it's all good.
Okay.
So we'll pick it up. So what we're going to do tomorrow then on each of the chats, kind of want to bring the last 3 sessions together. So we talked about theming. We talked about these buckets of content that I'm going to go through with everyone. And then we talked about these content packages last week. So starting to develop those. The homework from tomorrow is going to be to develop 12 content packages. Now, interestingly, what I've done in a sneaky fashion is that the content on my podcast for this week is explaining that content development process again. Which basically means that for each day of the week, I'm going to go deep into one part of that process. So I'm publishing that this week so that you guys can then listen to that as well as a bit of okay, I missed this bit. What does it mean? I missed that bit. What does it mean? So we're going to be releasing that this week, which is good. What are you going to say, something, Cam?
Yeah, I was. I missed that one show where you do the whole content piece. And I basically sat last week and said, I got this done already. And then you're pounding it pretty heavy today. So I am not quite 100% sure, but the way I have been breaking out my episodes into the female thing and the geek talk stuff, I think those are all individual and separate content pieces within my brand. I mean, people can just listen to the business coaches. I mean, that's a content area of content.
Well, we'll go through it in a bit more depth in specifics to yours tomorrow. But if you listen to the show today, just quickly download that. It's only 7 minutes. The premise is that we're creating more packages of content. So the buckets are kind of one thing, which you're fine. You've got those nailed. That's cool. The next thing is developing a content package process. Now, that might not apply to your podcast. We might apply this to Brand Calm instead, which I think would be stronger, because the podcast kind of just is what it is. It's a slightly different beast. But I'll talk about.
I think you're right. By the way,
it's just that's like the series. You know, it runs. It's great content. It does what it does. People are used to it. What I'm interested in doing with these content packages and this content process, developing you guys as the experts in that field. So I think this is something fresh for you, Cam. Now, the point of doing it is so that you are not on that hamster wheel of holy shit, I've got to create all this content. But at the same time, thinking you do need to create it, because if you don't, in a year's time, you won't have moved forward. So it's giving you a framework to kind of lean on. And you're right, you missed the one because you were at Napa. You missed the third part of that. But if you listen to the show today, and then we'll dig deep tomorrow, but also this week on the podcast as well. I'll be explaining every part of that. So just listen to that when you get a chance, and we'll talk specifics tomorrow on it.
All right.
Cool. Right, time to go. I've got to drive home in the dark. It's now got dark. Now the clocks have changed. It gets to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and it gets dark, which is boring. So I was in Boston, by the way, which is a little bit. It was like just too far out of your reach there, Cam. I was going to invite you down, but like it's a long drive.
Too big of a drive. But we'll hook up one day.
Oh, it'd be good.
FinCon's in DC next year, so you're pretty close there.
I'll be doing 2, 3, 4 months in New York City next year anyway, so there'll be plenty of time to do that. I'll drive up.
Take the train down.
I'll drive up to you. I'll see some of the beautiful landscape.
Take you to Niagara Falls. You've never been there.
Done. I want to go there because it was on Superman 2. That's the only reason in my entire life that I want to go.
We'll get you on that guy wire. We'll float you right over the falls.
I'll be good, but don't throw yourself in to try and catch me out because I'm not Superman. I will not save you. Right, team. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Break on 3.
Break on 3.